Hey everyone, we're back to talk more about Pokemon. We got some more news on that. This time around we have images of the starters, some information on the region, and a release date for the next games.
Although the release date is awful.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because, well, might as well start there. Why not? X and Y was a worldwide release date. So I thought maybe this one would be too, even though Oraz wasn't. But it's coming out November 18th for Japan and the United States and possibly everywhere else. I'm not 100%
Pretty
sure.
much. Yeah, as far as I'm aware, for everywhere that's not Europe, that is the release date.
Yeah, and then Europe is 5 days later on the 23rd.
So basically, this is what's going to happen. Mysti's going to get the game. He's going to complete it. Oh my god, this Pokemon's amazing. Oh, this is amazing. Oh, the starter of this is amazing. I'm going to be sat there twiddling my thumb on the wall because I don't have the game.
I will try not to spoil stuff for you too much. At least not stuff that like the internet will already spoil for you as is.
That's a good point, actually.
But yeah. Aside from that little negative, let's get into the starters. I've heard some pretty mixed feelings about the starters of this set, primarily because of one of them. But
only one that's kind of caused a bit of not fallout, but mixed opinions.
Yeah, overall, I like them as a trio. What do you think?
The fact is that we've had a minute and 20 seconds, and including both the Japanese and the English, who've actually seen the starters.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of think that everyone's jumped to the conclusion that it's not really that good. I remember when I first saw Pickup, and I thought that was terrible, and it evolved into a flipping Emperor Penguin.
Yeah.
I think that it's kind of there's one specific one that people are against is a bit unfair.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I think you've got Rowlet, the grass flying type, which is an owl.
Which, by the way, is worth noting that it is the first ever base form of a starter that has two types. Because it's never happened before, has it? They always gain it after the first evolution or further.
There was one actually. Yeah, Bulbasaur starts poison grass.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah. Because I believe every single grass Pokemon in the first gen they made grass poison because they hadn't really figured out what they're doing with all the typings yet. I don't think. But yeah, there's one. This is the only other one that's ever been.
Rookie error there.
Yeah. Then you've got the fire type Litten, which is a cat. It's cute. And then you've got the one that has seemed to spark some controversy, Poplio, which is like a seal of kinds, or not, a sea lion rather.
Yeah, I don't see the problem everyone's got with it. I don't really get it. It's not bad.
It's grown on me. I actually really like it. I think a lot of the problem comes down to more or less the nose. I think that the nose really makes it look like a clown, and that's probably what they were going for. And I think
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah, and I think that really turns people off of it. It's a little too silly for them. But I kind of like, there's something I've talked about with some people before about just how important the starters are. For a lot of people, it's going to be the first Pokemon ever, and for kids especially, it's who are going to start their journey with this Pokemon. They want something that they're going to like, and they're going to be able to really enjoy. Yeah, and I think that this set is such a good embodiment of getting across to all sorts of kids, like a whole wide spectrum of them, because you've got Rowlet, who is pretty adorable, just this little ball of fluff and cuteness.
I've seen some memes floating around the internet of there's a Simpson episode where Homer's sat in the bar on his own, and it's been memes that everyone's basically got a Rowlet on them because that's what it seems like everyone's instantly gone to because of how cute it is.
Yeah, it does seem to be the fan favorite, and I can't blame them, people. It looks pretty good. You've also got Litten, which is a cat, so a lot of people are digging that. So it has a cute factor, but it's also got the red and the black and the really kind of mean eyes and stuff. It has a sort of cool, like, badass sort of look to it, in a way.
I keep thinking it's going to be some sort of fire dark when it evolves into its final evolution. Well, that's my instant thought.
That's definitely a very likely one, yeah. And then you've got Popplio, which is sort of this silly, goofy-looking thing. And I think that's a good mix of, like, things to appeal to kids especially. People that want something that's just really adorable will go with Rowlet. People that, like, kids that want something a little more, like, cool and, like...
serious.
They'll go with Litten. And the kids that want something a little more...
goofy sort.
Yeah, they'll go with Popplio. So I think it's a great trio in that regard, even if Popplio kind of has to take the bullet for the older demographic of Pokemon as being a very unfavored one.
Do you know what could be predicted? Is that people have jumped on the going against Popplio, and imagine if it has like the most badass final evolution.
I kind of hope so, because I'm probably... I like Litten a lot because it's a cat, but I've stuck with water types from the beginning, and I kind of don't want to break that tradition, so I'm probably going to go with Popplio.
I've had a fire type. I've had a fire type thing since the beginning, so I've kind of gone with fire types. The first time, every playthrough I've started, at first time I've gone for the fire type, even if I did get sick of the firefighting.
I think Litten is going to be a cool fire type starter. I think that's going to be one of my favorites in that, in that line.
Well, they were showing, when the trailer, they showed a few moves that they all have, didn't they? So, like, Popplio had Water Gun, and then Litten had Ember, but then Rowlet had a new move.
Yeah, on the website it calls it Leafage, which I'm assuming it's basically just a special counterpart to like the 40 damage like starting elemental moves. Because like really like the one that grass starters usually begin with is like Vine Whip
or Absorb
or Absorb, and I think Absorb could work. But, like, if Vine Whip it'd be vines coming out of an owl. That would just be very strange. They could go Razor Leaf, but Razor Leaf is actually quite a bit stronger than the other starting moves.
Is it a crit hit as well? Is it land more easily?
Oh, Vine Whip?
No, Razor Leaf.
I'm not actually sure. Because it's such a, like... I never really thought about it competitively or, like, in that regard very much because it's kind of one of the beginner moves that you don't really see used very... it is a high crit ratio, yep.
Yeah, so that'd give it an even more advantage if it had that.
True. It is actually the move Chikorita starts with, like, the first grass-type move it learns pretty early on, but that was, again, way early on before they really kind of established things.
I know it's the second one that Thingy learns, that Turtwig learns.
Yeah.
It learns Absorb first.
As a second one, it makes sense, because it's only like 15 damage higher, but like in the beginning, that 15 power higher rather, that 15 power can make a pretty big difference early game.
Yeah, overall, I kind of think that when it comes to the starters, I think you've got a good choice. Again, you've not seen first evolution or second evolution yet. You know, it could be, because even though I go with fire types, it could be that I see that Rowlet or Pippin, the least fan favourite, have really good evolutions, and I might want to get them instead.
Yeah, that's like when it comes to typing, like we pretty much know what Rowlet's going to be. I doubt it's going to change from grass flying. The only way I think it would change from that...
It becomes like a grass area, just randomly.
Yeah, see, the only other typing I think would be possible would be, like, Grass Dragon, if it goes this weird, like, dragony owly route. But that's just because, like, stuff doesn't usually stop being flying. I've seen things go from flying to dragon, like Noivern. Or, was that what Noivern did? Was it...
No, it was already...
Or was it dragon flying?
It's flying.
It's dragon flying. Isn't there one that does that? Isn't there a flying type that turns into a dragon type? Maybe I'm just making that up. I don't know.
It might be a Mega Evolution.
Yeah, I mean, that happens, yeah, with, like, Charizard and stuff.
Really?
But yeah, we pretty much know that one's typing, and there really isn't a grass flying... There's not many in the game, but there aren't any that really do well competitively.
Well, it's because it's 4 times weak to grass, isn't it? So
it's 4 times weak to ice.
Sorry, ice.
Yeah. I figured you meant that, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's got, like, 4 other weaknesses, and multiple of them are kind of common to use. And it has a ground resistance, sure, but like its other resistances aren't fantastic.
I mean, in game, that would be fine, I reckon.
In game, I'm sure it's going to be a fine
unless they
Pokemon.
have another icy region like with flipping Snow Point City, I reckon it'd be fine.
Considering where we seem to think the region is based off of, I don't know about that.
That's a good segue. That well done. It's a good segue.
I suppose, yeah. It does look like the from the name Alola, and just like from the the visuals we saw in the trailer, it does seem like this is absolutely based off of Hawaii. If you got like this island thing, there's probably going to be other islands we haven't actually seen yet. So there's probably going to be like volcano segments and lots of water surfing segments. Man, if fucking like IGN was like too much water in Oraz, they're probably going to hate this game.
Yeah. I remember when the best part about that, by the way, this is a quick tangent. The best part about that is like, oh, there's too much water, but did you play the original games?
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, I like it. It seems like it's going to be a very unique region compared to the ones we've seen. I still haven't played every Pokemon game, but I don't think we've had one that is quite this tropical.
No, I don't. Of the main series, anyway, I don't think we've had. Again, I've not played. I've only played 1 or 2 of the Ranger games, and I've only played, enough. But as far as I'm aware of the main games, there's nothing like it. There's also no word on whether or not there's a connection to the previous region or not yet. But
it does make me more hopeful for that. I'm still not praying and holding on to that hope too strongly. But Hawaii is a pretty common vacation resort town, or state or whatever, and I could easily see there being at the end game some kind of city you unlock that has like a cruise ship that takes you to Kalos, and the idea is people go to and from on vacation or whatever.
But it kind of a lot of it stems from one Pokemon that was revealed for the new movie, which was for the Volcania movie, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's a 6th gen Pokemon, technically speaking, but it really fits the theme of this region.
Yeah. So, again, I mean, I guess we gotta wait on that, but I'd personally love it if there was a connection, more to do after the game, maybe go and do the gyms again, I think that's probably that's probably why Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Gold Crystal, etc., Silver and Crystal are some of my favourites. Simply because once you did the first 8, it was like, well, we're done. No, we're not. We've got to go back to the original region.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's the only games that have done that so far, and I think it would be cool to bring that back. While Sun and Moon certainly look nicer overall than X and Y and Oraz, I guess X and Y is the important one here. It's still obviously from the same kind of engine.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem like it'd be that difficult, other than just basically space on the cartridge, to have a connection to Kalos.
And also finding because obviously it looks like they might have a basis of a connection with one Pokemon, but kind of finding one way to interlink it without randomly going, oh yeah, by the way, just take this boat and there you go, you're in there now. Wait, they've got to kind of find a way to work it in without just shoehorning it in. No doubt IGN will have a go at that. Shots fired.
So yeah, I really hope that we get that connection. It would be really cool to see that happen. But I mean, it is still kind of a big wish, because that is importing the entire, at least a big section of that region back into this game that already is probably a lot more data than any of the other Pokemon games have been before. Although, I wouldn't even really mind it if they made it some kind of DLC thing to go to Kalos.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
I really would hate to see Pokemon go too deep down the DLC road, because I feel like it's one of the few games that has remained pure from that. But that would be something that I would be on board for, and I would be totally be willing to pay for. I'd throw down I'm of course talking US dollar here, whatever, but $5 or $10 to be able to go back to Kalos again.
Quid. It's not too much.
I'd
happily do that. As long as I mean, the problem with that is that you could go into sort of EA level Star Wars Battlefront, but I think even if they had it as DLC, having it in the game provides more advantages than disadvantages.
Mm-hmm.
Like you touched upon, it seems like the only disadvantage could potentially be flipping, storage space and whatnot. That's pretty much.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I think that a DLC format for that would probably be the way they'd go if they did it, because that was putting all of that into one cartridge. They struggled to get both regions into their original Gold and Silver way back when, as is. So they probably go through the same struggle with this one, but there's just even more data here. So, having it just be DLC that just sits on your SD card and your 3DS, I could see that working.
Yeah, because don't forget, at the moment they've got 721 Pokemon that technically need sprites and whatnot, and then you've got all the new additions that they're going to add with this gen. That's a lot of data to store.
I hope we get a lot of new Pokemon, by the way, because 6th Gen only added 72 if you count the mythical Pokemon.
Well, we've already got, 3, 4, 5, 6, I believe. With the 3 starters, the legendary that's going to be in the Volcanion movie, and also the 2 that are going to be on the front cover.
Yeah. And I guess, technically speaking, it's not really confirmed, but we did get that one wire mesh looking model of a bird type Pokemon,
oh, yeah, that too.
Or something in that one trailer, but that's not really confirmed, so you can't really count that. But yeah, we've got 6 so far. Hopefully we'll get more than that. But
and just for everyone that didn't see the trailer, because they released official box art as well. They released the 2 legendaries that are going to be on the front of it. I want people to have a look at that and think. One of them looks like a Mega Pyro, and the other one kind of looks like a Mega Noivern that's had, mated with a Zubat and then Mega evolved.
They both look very mechanical to me.
Yeah.
I think of when I look at the Sun one, which I know there's theories of the names because of those copyrights, but I don't remember them and it's whatever. But the Sun one, the fiery liony looking thing, reminded me of like Zoids, that one anime or whatever.
Yeah.
It reminded me of one of those things. And then the other one just all the the rim around it and all those starry patterns and stuff. I don't know, just that one looked a little bit mechanical to me too. But I definitely think they look really unique in terms of legendaries, despite having counterparts like Pyro or Noivern.
That's me joking, but I remember when because I was pretty sad of me, but when it came out, I was literally refreshing it constantly, refreshing the YouTube. Probably a lot of other people were refreshing it constantly. When's it gonna come up? When's it on? And then I went Mega Evolutions, but nah, they're the. But I actually think that one of the best things I've had in a Pokemon game so far is in Auras, when there was so many legendaries available.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of legendaries just gave you so much to do. I've still not got Regigigas on mine at the moment. I still need to do that. So
that's a really roundabout one.
Oh yeah,
it's such a weird
because of the name, because of the Regi stuff. But I kind of think that having more legendaries is good, and we've got 2 already, so the prospects are high.
Yeah, we've got 2 already. We've got the Magearna one, that's still floating there. Volcanion, technically is a 6th gen, but it seems like it's probably going to be kind of more of a 7th gen oriented thing. But I'm kind of torn between which of these 2 I like more, because I do think I'm definitely going to be getting Sun, just because my girlfriend's very, her heart's set on Moon version. But I do think I kind of like the Moon Legendary a little bit more. I just think that when they show its signature move and it creates that ring with its wings, I'm just oh my god, that is so cool.
Do you know what you could do is though? Do you know what you could do? This is what you could do. You could complete it and then swap it over and then do the other one. And then what happens then is that you probably still complete it before I even get either of them, because you decided
possibly. when we played X and Y, and I think Auras took about the same amount of time. It took us 4 days to complete, 4 or 5, I can't remember. So if my heart is set on it, I probably could get it done before you get it. And if my heart's really set on it, I could probably do it twice, but I'm not going to do that.
And then I'll be in the corner crying because I've still not got the game.
But like, what do you think about types for the legendaries?
Well, obviously, I reckon the sun one's a fire type, I think, or some form of, whether it's pure fire, I doubt it. It's probably got something in there, but I kind of think that the moon one is ghost dark or something along the lines of that.
I would wager that dark
flying, maybe.
Yeah, I would wager that dark. I kind of hope it's not just dark flying, because that's the exact same type as Yveltal.
Yeah.
But I'm sure dark will be there. Maybe dark dragon, maybe dark psychic, maybe something, or dark ghost. I don't know.
They've got a dark psychic though with Hooper's Unbound form.
Yeah. But definitely dark is probably going to be there. And I imagine fire will be there for the sun legendary as well. I mean, it could be fire fairy because it's like daytime, like the opposite of the night with the other one, but it doesn't really look like a fire fairy type.
Do you mean my dream of having fire fairy could be there? Just that, because that's a side note, by the way. Every time we've talked about this, I've brought up there being some form of fire fairy somewhere, just because that's the typing I really want to see.
Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of different combinations of fairy would be awesome to see. We only have a few. There's still like half of them that haven't been paired with fairy yet, or something. So
yeah.
I do kind of have a suspicion, like when it comes to the starter types, like we know Rowlet. When it comes to Poplio, water fairy is one of the things I think it could be.
I reckon I'm thinking water ice, just because.
What? Yeah, water fairy, water ice, or pure water.
Although I saw someone somewhere say about water fighting, which I found hilarious. I'm thinking, what is it going to become, like a Poliwrath?
I mean, I can see the logic behind that, but it does still seem like a stretch. I think it was more because it's very acrobatic, so it could become a fighting type in that sense. But I don't know.
I think it was more because people have been bashing it, so it's kind of like it evolved into a water fighting type to fight back at the people that have been bashing it already.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, and you kind of mentioned, like with Litten, Fire Dark seems to be the thing. The only other type combination I've heard that seems to really jump out at me is Fire Poison, because of the the oil that's supposed to be part of its fur that it uses to like ignite its fireballs.
That's my dream already. That needs to be a thing. That needs to happen.
I think that's the only other one that seems to make sense in my mind, and I think it's a cool idea. And then it kind of goes down a path that isn't so obvious for it, because Fire Dark, it just screams Fire Dark.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Although if it is Fire Dark, it does mean we have a cat counterpart to Houndoom and Houndour.
Yeah. Well,
and that'll be cool.
I kind of think that you can be thrown off from original base designs of what they final, because I didn't think that for example, I mentioned it before about Piplup. I didn't think it evolved into Water Steel, flipping Emperor Penguin.
True, that comes out of nowhere. That is very true.
So, it could make a potential change in design as it goes on and it becomes a fire whatever, but...
That's very, very true. Hopefully not firefighting. Hopefully not
that. You'll hear my head crashing through the wall if it's firefighting. Again,
people will be very upset.
I mean, again, people probably don't know this, but my favourite is actually firefighting in Infernape. But when it becomes all the time, it becomes a drag. Yeah,
I mean, we've released in the game so far. We've only had 6 fire starters, and half of them are firefighting. So, that's too much of a good thing.
You don't want to go over the threshold and have above 50%, because they've already done the fast fighting types as well for 2 of them. So
yeah. But anyway, we've also got I guess we could talk a little bit about the character you're probably going to be playing as well as maybe some of the NPCs too.
Oh yeah.
Because that's pretty much the only other information we got from these trailers. I'm a little underwhelmed by the trainer designs. I think they're kind of plain, but I also think that is part of a clue to the fact that we're going to have customization back.
Yeah, I remember, I don't remember, I saw the thing on Twitter where there was kind of like there was a change in their actual in like the shirt that they had on. Like it changed for like a couple of seconds from like blue to black, and instantaneously people are on it like customization's back, customer. You know what I mean? I think that was one of the best parts of past game where they actually introduced it, because you know, as much as I love the original base designs of, you know, the original Emerald and whatnot, having the ability to customize just gives you so much more.
Mm-hmm. It does sort of, like, I still say it does sort of create this disconnect with, like, the default trainer designs, but, like, I guess I don't really mind that one too much here, because they do seem so underwhelming. Like, the guy is just kind of a dude with a hat, a striped shirt, and some shorts, whatevs. The girl is just, like, she's got the weird hat, but she's just got, like, a plain white shirt and, like, little shorts, and that's it. There's just nothing that really, like, jumps out at me with them. But, I mean, the customization, I liked it as well, so I'm all for it if they are going to bring that back in full force. As well as now, like, there's 4 skin color options, which I think is pretty cool.
Well, you know, I mean, that it's good that they're actually doing, because obviously I reckon probably in the past time they probably couldn't fit that sort of stuff in, but, you know, now that they've got more storage system to you know, storage to play with, you know, they can do that, and no problem at all.
Yeah. And it also seems like we're getting a lot of, like, diversity in the NPCs as well. Like, because the region is Hawaii, you see a lot more, like, of the kind of people you would get from that area of the world. You know, there's a lot more, like, you know, diversity in, like, the culture of characters we're seeing here, which I think is really cool.
But if you think about it, I mean, we're in, you know, this probably will go out in May, I reckon. If not, then, you know, happy June. But if it's going out in May, you know, we've still got 6 months before this actually. Well, I've got 5 days extra to wait, something I'm still not going to get over. But, you know, we've got 6 months until it comes out. So, you know, there's so much more to come out about the region and, you know, whether there is actually customization, which I really do want back.
Yeah, I hope it does. I have a good feeling we will, just because of how much it seems like they're setting up for it.
That you touched upon about the variation, though. I do think that, you know, more... As much as you like the, again, like going back to the past games, the stereotypical designs were fine for the time because of, you know, limitations, but now that they've got more to play with, you know, more variation is better.
Yeah, I totally agree. There's, honestly, like, when you look at the whole scheme of things, like, everything that was revealed, there's very, very little I'm disappointed with. Like, so there's still a lot of information to come, and then there's still a lot that maybe could, you know, maybe I could be skeptical of. But right now, like, I like the starters. I even like the silly one. I'll probably be going with the silly one.
I'll be going with the cat.
Yeah. I think the legendaries look nice so far. I think the region looks good. I think the clues to character customization is, you know, thumbs up.
There's one thing to touch upon, by the way, that we've not touched upon is... have you seen the Japanese reveal trailer?
I have seen it, yes.
I thought that was really cool. I think the way they did that in the kind of...
Oh, you just mean like the story that they created and stuff?
Because like with the release that we got in English, you know, it was kind of literally just about Pokemon. It was literally about, you know, here's the starters, the name of the starters, you know, here's a little bit of the region, here's the 2 legendaries, here's the box art. Whereas with the Japanese trailer, they literally kind of did a story about how almost Pokemon can kind of connect people.
Yeah, they did, and I think that was pretty cool. It does seem like the Japanese, like, commercials and trailers tend to do that more too, while the English ones tend to focus more just on, like, here's the game. Which, you know, I think that both of them in combination really help solidify this reveal, because each one has info that the other doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, even through, like, the Japanese trailers, like, story, while they don't show many shots that's, like, just, like, game capture, so the English trailer has a lot more clear shots of, like, footage, there is still, like, you know, like, the the only way reason we know that there's another skin option is the Japanese trailer, because they show all 4 there. Looks like there might be some kind of like, probably in game. I'm not saying you can talk with others through a video chat, but there's some sort of like screenshot of like a video chat you're doing through what is presumably the professor of the region that they show in the Japanese version. And other just little tidbits of like screenshots and other gameplay moments and stuff, like the Sun Legendary's special, like its signature move. You can see that like through the window of like the game store that the kid's going to.
Yep.
And we didn't get to see that at all in the English one.
It is. I do recommend watching both, kind of to pick up.
Yeah.
Not just to pick up, because you do get, like Mysti touched upon, you get to pick up on, little parts that aren't in both. But the way they actually do the Japanese trailer is actually kind of really touching, in the sense that it's almost like, spoil, if you don't want spoilers for how the trailer goes, it's basically about a little kid that he goes into a new school. It's kind of like he's an outcast, not an outcast, but when a new kid comes in, it's almost like no one knows you, blah blah blah, and he kind of feels alone. And then he finds out that people there are playing Pokemon, and then he manages to kind of connect, even though he couldn't connect with them previously because of, I'm assuming it was like language barriers, isn't it? With the except they managed to connect, and kind of, which is a very good thing to kind of speak about, because that is something that Pokemon does in general. Especially considering, like, for example, we've gone on for about nearly past 30 minutes, me and Mysti, just talking about Pokemon, because that's kind of the connection that Pokemon can have.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I got out of Pokemon for a very long time, but I'm definitely back into it in full force, and it's definitely helps me, like, connect and have another thing to bond with people for. So
yeah,
I think that the Japanese trailer is really cool and kind of touching in that regard. So watch it. Watch the English one too. I mean, if you've made it this far and you haven't watched them, I don't know what's wrong with you. Like, you need to watch those. But yeah, like, I'm happy with what we have. I think both trailers were cool. Both trailers gave us good information. And I think that Sun and Moon is going in a good direction so far.
I guess that in the future, when there's going to be announcements that keep coming along now on a kind of, not regular basis, but, kind of little bits and bobs and whatnot. So maybe if there's a big announcement and stuff like that, like the reveal of the starters, evolutions and whatnot, we might do a video on that as well. But, we'll have to see.
Yeah,
we'll see how that goes, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends. Like, if they're going to do what they did with Oraz and even X and Y a little bit, and just every once in a while be like, here's a new Mega. I don't know if we'll make a video on just that. Maybe after a bunch are announced, we'll talk about it, but, like, there's probably going to be a bit of that. It's also going to be the season of fake leaks, so, don't trust the leaks you see, except for ones from, like, the sources that you can trust, like Cerebi and Poke Beach and stuff like that.
Generally stick to them, and obviously us as well. Follows us on all the social medias.
Yeah, we're not going to be talking about or posting anything about any unconfirmed information. So, we're a reliable source. Keep coming back. We'll talk more about Pokemon and other shenanigans.
Anyways, I think that's a good point to wrap it up.
I think so, yep.
I've been Ryan.
I've been Mysti.
And hopefully we'll see you next time in another Pokemon Talk.
Goodbye.